I just want to start off with something this week. I normally end with this. The book, Salon Products Sell or Die Trying. The reason I'm putting this up straight away is because, of course, you can get it on Amazon, but because it's near Christmas, if you guys want to buy a copy directly, it'll come to you Christmas wrapped. That's all you got to do is drop me a message on here tonight or any day, and it'll come out to you the following day from me, wrapped direct to your salon or your business. Okay, now that's a book, if you don't know already, that I wrote on how to sell salon products in your business, and it's really a book about mindset. It's about how we change the way we think about business in our industry. And in fact, almost everything that I do when I'm coaching you in your business is all about changing the way you think about things. You know, a lot of salon owners have very, very kind of traditional ways of looking at things, and those things don't always work these days. So let's see if we can get started. Nice to see you, my friend Buland. You are so busy. I didn't think there was a lot of busier people than me. And I would say in the UK, but you don't seem to be in the UK very much these days. Fair play to you, sir. You're a very, very busy man. Love what you're doing. Love the standard of work, what you're doing. And obviously, sometime you and I need to connect more with this sort of stuff. Victoria, thank you for joining us this evening. So, until I got some questions, let's start with the issue that I think some of you need to deal with in your business and deal with next year. Oh, what I should say first of all, you can phone in tonight. You can phone in on 07931 518 642. Okay, you can phone in. You can jump the queue when the questions get big. Everyone else can go to the back. I'll answer your questions directly. So I'm ready to go to take phone calls. If you don't want to phone because you're a bit shy, then just put your questions in the description here, and we'll run until 9:30 tonight answering your questions. And don't forget, we are here every week. I would encourage you to please invite other people along. Now, if you know people in your salon, you've got friends, other salon owners, please invite them along. I want this channel to be a big channel. It's free. It's me giving an hour of my time free to you guys for some sort of guidance. I know it's not coaching. You can't really coach at speed like this. And it is called quick coach. It's not called slow coach. So you will see that my answers will get faster and faster and faster over the next hour. Hi, Victoria. I got you on here. Bulant. That's a lovely icon you got up there. Gillian Smith. Hi, Carl. I introduced the service that my clients didn't really know that I provided, and it works. So now more of my clients are having a shampoo, and it's a barbershop. So got to be a good thing, right? Okay, so Gillian, yes, I would encourage most barbershops to adopt the shampoo in principle for a number of reasons. And we're going to talk about in the competition. In fact, Gillian, I'm going to leave that to the side in terms of why it's a good thing. But for no other reason, if you're actually shampooing someone, you obviously get the opportunity to sell them shampoos if you've got those products available. But also, it's a nice service. It's nice for you to cut clean hair, and it is something that your competition isn't doing. But Gillian, I will answer that a little bit more as we're going on, but I think what you've done, and I know your barbershop, it is a good thing to be adding to the service. So let's talk about competition. How many of you, and I think you're going to fill my board up, so don't all answer at once. How many of you feel that the high streets are now absolutely flooded, saturated, I think is the word, with competitors? You know, I went to, I think it was Cardiff City a few weeks ago, and there weren't a lot of hairdressers around, in fairness, but there's a lot of barbershops. Every town, every city seems to be flooded with barbershops. Some have a lot of hairdressers, some have a lot of nail bars, some have lots of lash bars, wherever they are. So the competition now is absolutely massive. And what I'm concerned about is I see a lot of you almost giving up, or certainly mentally giving up, and saying, look, the competition is so fierce, I can't compete anymore. So this is the level that I can compete on, and I just have to be satisfied with a little bit that I've got. The first thing you guys know that I approach you with, most of you, if you've worked with me for 5 minutes, let alone 5 days, will be pricing. And you say to me, I can't put my prices up because all my competitors are so cheap. Okay, Bulan, I never thought I should sell products in a salon until I read your book. Now I tell everyone in my classes about products to sell in this salon, so I learned lots from you. Bulan, I know you've been a great advocate for me. Thank you very much. And I've had lots and lots of support over the last 5 or 6 months since I released the book. It's all about customer service though, guys. You got to read the book and realize it's about customer service. It's not about selling a product. It's about how the client benefits. So let's go back to this competition. What we got? Caroline Dawson. Thank you, Caroline, for jumping on this evening. This competition. And the first thing I wrote down when I was preparing my notes today, do you know what? You can never, ever, ever beat your competition on price. And this is important because let's say you're in a street and you've got 10 hairdressers and all cut and blow dries are £29.95. Okay. You can't stay at £29.95 and you can't go down to £29 because the next hairdressers that comes along, or barbershop or spa or nails, is going to charge £28. And the next one, because they're not working their prices out, they're just trying to beat you on price. So you can never, ever, ever beat your competition on price. You can maybe for a week, maybe you can do it for a month, maybe you could beat them for 3 months or something. I get that. But long term, the way you need to build a business, you cannot beat your competition on price. There's always someone who is prepared to charge less, someone who's prepared to take less home for themselves, someone who's prepared to pay their staff less, someone who's prepared to have less of a service, if you like, standards, if you like, in this salon for their clients. There's always people prepared to do less for less money. Now, you don't want to be one of those people. You do not want to compete with your competition on prices. All right, this is really, really important, guys. For those of you who are at £12 barbers cuts or something and you think, I tell you what I'll do, I'll cut mine to £11 and I'll get all their clients in. That's not going to happen. They're not going to come to you to start with. And even if you were super lucky and I was super wrong, which I won't be, then I can tell you that next week, I'm going to open up next door to you and I'm going to undercut you from £11 to £10. And so it goes on, and you are never, ever, ever going to beat your competition on pricing. So we can beat the competition partly by moving our pricing away from them. So if they are at £11, if they are at £30 for a cut and blow dry, and everyone else is at 29, 28, 27, 23, whatever it is, you might be able to, in your type of salon, to move yours to 35 or 40. Now that is counterintuitive, isn't it? You're thinking, oh my God, I can't, they're already beating me, Carl, and now you want me to put my prices up. Okay, I want you to hold on to that thought. Anyone joining me in 10 or 15 minutes time isn't going to get this at all. They're going to have to watch the rerun, or you're going to have to remind them. But I'll try and remind them as well. So I want you to hold that thought a minute. I'm competing against other people, and Carl doesn't want me to reduce my prices to compete. He wants me to increase them. Why would a business coach tell me to put my prices up when my competition is so severe? Well, just bear with me for 5 minutes until I come back to that. See what questions we got tonight. Is it Scott? Hi, Carl. Any tips for me to potential candidates in my areas, and the ones I've interviewed weren't suitable? Should I go to colleges, seek an apprentice, and train them myself? Okay, so Scott, changing the subject just slightly. Scott is after more staff. We know as an industry, the whole industry, hairdressing, barbering, spas, the whole lot, there is a problem in terms of easily access staff. Okay, that's the important thing. I don't think there is a problem for most of you getting staff. There are people out there. It's because of the way you are trying to access them. Just to answer you directly, Scott, what I would say is, for you personally, I would say you need to interview 10 times as many. You need to up your advertising. Yes, you need to go to colleges. You need to go everywhere. So whatever activity you've got at the moment for trying to recruit people, multiply it by 5, multiply it by 10, multiply it by 20. Have a lot. You're only looking for one barber. So it's not as if we got to build, we're not rebuilding Tony and Guy or anything. You need one barber. I would say just up everything that you're doing, up your social media marketing, go on to any of the recruitment forums. You are going to find one person. I am going to do a webinar. Okay, it's going to be early, very, very early in the new year on recruitment, and it's going to be a training webinar. So I don't want to spend the whole evening showing you how to get staff, because I want people to come on to that. But for you, Scott, The answer is to just do what you're doing, but do a lot more of it. You only need one person. Okay, what have we got? Pammy J, good evening, Pammy. Thank you for joining us. Catherine's on board. Julian Smith, I agree. It's all about quality and not quantity. And that is part. Good evening, Sean. Thanks for jumping on board this evening. That's the point, Gillian, that when I talk about the competition, there's not enough people in the world or in Britain or in Wales for the amount of salons, barbershops, hairdressers, spas, for us all to be jam-packed with very, very cheap services. It works. We went from £10 to £11 to £15 to £17. Generally experience some amount of clients, but better quality. Yes, I know Phil particularly well, and I know his trail of pricing, and he knows that I endorse that we go higher and higher pricing. In fact, I can remember Phil's trail quite well. I don't know if he wants me to explain it on here, but we can identify the right clients for your business, and your prices can be increased in almost every case. I don't want to give it a blanket decision because I need to know a little bit about your business if you want me to give you genuine advice, but most of you can do this. Okay, Ellie's on board. Good evening, Ellie, and Robert's on board. Robert, hi, Robert. Thank you for joining me. Ellie, that's great. It's like I'm in the clan there. We're welcoming everyone. Okay, so I've already told you to put your prices up, and you're all having a bit of a panic, or some of you are having a bit of a panic, but you will come to this in a minute. Now, you can't beat someone on price. They're at £25, you go to 24. Okay, the next shop goes to 23. You think I'll go to 22. Before you know it, none of you are making any money, and that is why, or part of the reason why, 3 out of 5 of you are going to close in the next 5 years, and 8 out of 10 of you won't be on this channel in 10 years' time, okay? You'll be off doing something else because your business will have closed and your business will have failed. Sorry to tell you. And I hope, do you know what? If you're on this channel at the moment, there's probably a much better chance that you are going to be in the success category. Is people sat at home tonight? I don't know what's on TV on a Wednesday night. Is it, some soaps, anything like that? Those people who are sat at home tonight watching soap operas instead of being on here, engaging with us, getting some free advice, getting some guidance. That's all I'm doing, is I'm just giving you some guidance. I'm just saying, guys, don't think like you normally do. Change the way you think. Anybody who I've worked with on here, anybody who I've coached will know that my job, or the way I operate, is changing your mindset. I don't just give you a list of things to go and do. I spend my time trying to change the way you think about those problems. So let's go on to the next part of this competition. The next part of the competition, we said you can't beat them on price. They're always going to undercut you forever. Okay, there's always someone that'll do something for nothing, all right? The next part is going to be the service itself. Now, this is a bit more delicate, and I want you to take this in general, broad terms. Now, if you go into, let's say, 3 hairdressers or 3 barbers in a row, just to make it really, really simple, or 3 nail technicians in a row. The difference to the client, now not to you, the barber. Who do I just have on here? I see, Booland on here, I got Robert, I got Ellie, the last 3 people. These would be perfect people to just kind of give this example to. Now you, if I put 3 haircuts in front of you, you would say to me, that's a good one, that's pretty good, and that one's awful. Okay, or that one's awesome, that one's awesome as well, and that one is shocking. It looks like it's been cut with a knife and fork. However, the problem is I, the client, okay, no comments on my hair tonight, guys, I'm doing on Friday. The client doesn't know that. They don't know the difference between an absolutely amazing haircut and an okay haircut. They haven't got a clue. They just know that my haircut is fine. They know if it's terrible. You know, they know that there's this big bit sticking out and they can't style it, but they don't know the difference themselves between an awesome haircut and a good haircut. So you can't beat the competition on the haircut. Okay, and it's pretty much the same with lots of things like that. It's obviously more perceivable with some things. I mean, if someone blows dry without volume and someone blows dry with volume, you can see that. But if someone does an average blow dry and someone does a good blow dry, to the client, that's not a huge something that they can see. Okay, and it's the same with a lot of services. It's the same with a massage. They won't see the difference between an awesome massage and a good massage. They'll see the difference between an awesome one and a terrible one. So what I'm trying to tell you is this: you cannot generally beat your competition on the service. And I'm not talking about customer service, by the way. I'm talking about the act of doing something, the act of painting nails, the act of cutting hair, the act of putting a face mask on, the actual physical act of the service. You can't beat them on that. So you might pride yourself as the best barber in Bristol or the best hairdresser in Leeds. That doesn't mean a lot to the client. You can use it as your marketing, but to the client, it doesn't mean a lot. They might have you cut their hair, and then they might come to me, say, and they might think, yeah, both are fine. Okay, so you so far you've lost on the price battle, and now you're thinking, I'm absolute. And we see it, don't we? How many barbershops, how many hairdressers do we see? Or how many? I've seen lots of complaints today about a spa and the service that they had. How many of these people do we see delivering awful hands-on service, if that's the right words, bad haircuts, but are still jam-packed? And we know types of barbershops that are jam-packed, but their haircuts are very basic, not very good in some cases. Okay, so we know that we can't actually beat them on the haircut. If you're in a competition, if you're on a competition floor, I get it. Okay, but by the time you finish the cut and then you style it, you smother it in products, it's very, very difficult for the client to understand the difference between a good haircut and a great haircut. So don't put all your eggs into the basket of producing the best work in the whole damn world, because that is not going to beat your competition. Everybody with me on this? We got Ellie on, we got Robert. Quality over quantity, absolutely within that era, and I don't think that era is going to go away. Quality will always trump quantity, mostly will trump quantity. Okay, Carl, off topic, but do you have any advice or experience with health and critical illness cover for self-employed people? Okay, that's not an area of expertise for me, Scott, but I do have experience with having insurance myself, and to have things like what you might be talking about for you is key person insurance. If it's for yourself, in fact, I would say this to most salon owners on here. If you, and you should be, the most integral part of your business, you really should be looking at key person insurance. Okay, look, this is not part of my coaching. This is just something from our experience. And what it does is it ensures that when you are ill, your business is covered to a greater degree. And for someone like you, Scott, who's got a very small operation, I would definitely be looking into it. If you've got a huge operation, and maybe one salon and 10 staff, and you're going to be off for a few weeks, you can cover that. You don't need insurance for that sort of stuff. But what happens to your business if you are seriously ill for 6 months or more? Could you possibly maintain those levels of income? And for 1 or 2 man operations, I don't think you could. So have a look at key person insurance. Scott, I hope that helps you. Customer care will always, Ellie McCann says, customer care will always will the client. Okay, I think there's a few words missing in your sentence, Ellie, but I'm going to come to that in a moment. You are absolutely right. You're ahead of me. Okay, have you seen my prequel, did you? I believe brave world, but very true. Violet Goddard is on board. Tonight, guys, this is Quick Coach TV, QCTV. We're up to 20 minutes already. Tonight, we're talking about how do we beat the competition. We can no longer beat them on price. We can no longer beat them by matching them with similar kinds of services. And we can no longer just complain about it. 07931 518 642. You can phone in tonight right up until 9:30. If you have a private conversation, please catch me after the show. I'm right online until midnight tonight. Or ask any questions that you want to. Now, just type them in. Doesn't have to be about competition. That's just the core for the night. You ask anything you want. If I can help you, I will help you. Okay, I've got to repeat myself. We can't beat them on price. There's always someone who's going to undercut you. We can't beat them on the actual service themselves because the customer doesn't usually know the difference between a great haircut and just a good one, or a great set of nails and just good ones. They just don't know. And the difference, the effort that you're putting in really isn't going to make, isn't going to draw them away from the competition. That's what this is about. That doesn't mean we don't have pride in what we're doing and we don't try and produce the best work ever. What I'm telling you is you might be the best haircutter, you might be the best lash technician in the whole world, but that doesn't mean you're going to beat the competition. Okay, so what we got? Toria Swills is more. Good evening, Toria. Scott is on. Thanks, Scott. You're on. No problem, sir. Ellie always wins. Sorry, Poxy phone. That's okay. No problem. Catherine, best you speak to a financial advisor. I won't cost you anything. Sorry, I thought Catherine was getting some business there. It won't cost you anything, as they will get paid by the insurer. Yeah, look, take Catherine's advice, Scott. Ask them about key person insurance. It isn't an area of my expertise, but I know you was on here and you'd like me to help. Bulant, agree with you, not reducing price instead. Telling your clients about importance of the products you have. Even if you have a Ferrari, if you don't have knowledge about it, that you can't sell it. Absolutely. So what Bulant is getting to, we're going back to kind of retail and part in a way as well. You have to believe in what you're doing. You have to believe in what you're actually selling. And believe it or not, you guys sell every day. I know most of you hate selling. If I was to ask you, or if I have a meeting with your team, I'll ask you to put your hands up like this, and you have to put your hands up like this. And most of them will say, I don't want to sell. I hate selling. I don't want to be pushy. I don't like what the customer rejected me, all that sort of stuff. But part of it is because they haven't bought into that product. They're not bought into your business. They're not bought into your blueprint. They're not bought into you. Now, let's get to the crux of this with, 35 minutes to go, guys. The crux of this is this. You can't beat people on price. You can't beat them on the haircut itself. And as Ellie says, and Bulant is trying to say, you can only beat your customer. So you can only beat your competition on customer service. Okay. Now this means, you'll hear me saying this a lot when I'm online or when I'm coaching, you've got to move away as far away from that competition as possible. Let me give you an example on shaving. Okay. Now, we have high streets full of barbershops, and we have Kurdish or Turkish style barbers who do a fantastic job of doing very quick shaves. Okay, we've got no doubt about that. Great, let them do that. And if any of you are on your well done, guys, you do a great job. So what I would say to you guys, you want to introduce a shaving service to your business. Well, let's not compete with that local competition. Let's not try and do a 10-minute shave or an 8-minute shave or whatever it is for £6. Wasting your time. They're going to be better than you. They're probably going to be faster than you, and they're definitely going to be cheaper than you. You cannot win this competition battle. Let's say you want to introduce a shaving service, so we'll introduce a luxury shaving service. So no longer is it 10 minutes, it's now 40 minutes. No longer is it £7, it's now £30. Okay, no longer is it a once over with a razor. It's now 3 hot towels, 1 cold towel, a facial massage, a neck massage, a head massage. Okay, those two services cannot be compared. One is so far away from the other, you're no longer in competition, because the person who wants the quick Zorro shave might be the one that's on the way to work. The person that wants to chill out in your chair for that 40 minutes is going to be the person at Christmas, the person on their birthday, the Father's Day special, the person who wants to relax, the people who like to spend quality time winding down, the person on the way to their holidays. You get it. Is that a good example, guys? That means you can have a service which is not comparable to someone else. You are no longer competing with those people. Okay, what we got coming up here? Okay, Violet is inviting people across. Don't worry about the competition. Worry about what you are doing and improve your service and skill set. Okay, so yes, Robert, this is what we're talking about at this stage. Now we're on to the service part of it. This is the bit that blows any competition out of the water. Whatever you're doing, beat them on customer service. Okay, now customer service can be anything. It could be, I know, for example, I don't know if Phil is still on here. Phil recently organized a brewing session where he went away and came back with his own branded beers. Now, okay, that's a bit of a gimmick, but his competition isn't doing it, okay? So he's distanced himself. He put a lot of effort and time into making sure that he had beers with his own brand. Can you imagine how impressed, even if it's only for a short time, his clients are? And he's got that on social media, and he's given some to me, which is also good. Can you imagine the impression that that has? He could have reduced his prices by £1 or £2 or £3 for a week, but it would have had no effect on his business. Whereas as a marketing ploy, this will have an effect on his business, especially if he follows that up with more beer or more marketing or whatever it is. Listen, guys, you've got to just keep pushing yourself away from the competition. Don't get involved with them. It's like me, you know, a little tiny guy. I don't go fighting big, massive people. I don't fight anyone. You know, don't get into an argument. Don't get into a fight with the wrong type of competition. You have got to work out that what you are selling, your customer service has to be so much different. So you have to make sure that your customer service is kind of pure. Let them mill around, let them do their thing, because you know something. If they are very low price salons, barbershops, spas, nail technicians, it's impossible, guys, for them to have persistent high levels of customer service, because they'll never generate enough. If they're legally operating, I'm talking about, they'll never be able to generate enough profitability to refurbish the salon. So the chairs will wear out, it'll look shoddy. They won't be able to keep introducing the next electrolysis machine because they won't have the money for investment. So let them scrabble around down the bottom. Now, going back to the beginning, what I was saying, this is why you probably need to increase your prices, because it's the prices that differentiate you from them. So first of all, you're all at £30, you all look the same, and I don't know how the client is choosing your salon. Maybe it is on customer service at this stage. And then you say, now I'm £40, now you stand out. But what you have got to do now is give them the reason why that £40, why that 25% extra, if you like, is worth it to them. What are you giving them? What value do they get? And they need to sense that extra 25% from the moment they open the doors. Is your salon, it doesn't have to be the most amazing salon, but it has to be clean, it has to be fresh, you have to be greeted by the first client, you have to be not kept waiting for 2 hours, you have to be, you know, treated professionally, you have to be spoken to properly, you got to have decent refreshments. You know, some of it sounds really, really basic, but I don't know if you would be surprised, but those things are not standard service. We really do not look after our client on the whole. So what have we got here? Let me make sure we're answering all these questions. What would you say? We got Michael Putney. Good evening, Michael. What we say is the correct balance of service and customer care. 75% service, 25% customer care. Is there a point when it all overturns the service? No, 100% customer service. I know you've got to do a haircut and you can't do a bad one. I can't work out a percentage for you, Michael. You have to be obsessed. Perhaps I answer it differently. You need to be 100% obsessed with customer service, providing that your services are okay. There's no way I could say 10% service, therefore you do a terrible haircut and have 90% awesome customer service. There's no point smiling at someone, you know, when you've just shaved them and the ears hanging off. So I don't think there is a percentage, but I would say that it's 100% obsession with customer service. That's the most important. And that you're always trying to get better at customer service and better at customer service. Because, you know, unless you're a junior, once you've got a skill, maybe once you can do, you know, dermaplaning, maybe you can actually do Botoxing, you're not, after a certain period, you're not going to get, you know, continuously better at it. You know, after maybe 3 years or 5 years, you're going to be good enough at it to compete with anyone. In 15 or 20 years' time, you're not going to be 7,000% better than someone who's been at it for 2 years. So don't focus on the service all the time. As long as the service is of good standard and you're progressive in your training, that's enough. The focus, 100% of your focus has to be on customer service, because that's where you beat everyone. Customer service is absolutely everything. Don't forget tonight, Michael, we are only talking about how to beat the competition. This is my answer to beat the competition, and it's to smash them to bits with customer service. Okay, who we got? Make sure we're answering everyone. Okay, so we got consultations. That's exactly the same. We talked about that last week as well. Consultations, I'm not going to go over it again. It's on last week's video, Quick Coach TV. We talked about how to do consultations, whether they're short face-to-face consultations just before you do a haircut or a cut and blow dry, or whether they're what I call pre-consultations, where you sat down for up to 30 minutes face-to-face, asking questions about their family, doing a full color, talking to them about retail, whatever it is. When you do a consultation of a very, very, very high standard and your competition are doing a consultation of a very low standard, and I would say almost no consultation at all. In fact, I think last week's quote from L'Oreal said that 80%, no, it was 93% of clients said that they'd never had a consultation. I didn't agree with the percentage, but I do think that 93% of clients didn't recognize that they had a consultation. Okay, so consultations is a perfect way of making a difference between your salon and another salon, your barbershop and another barbershop, your nail service and another nail service. Spend the time. You've got to charge them for it. Don't get me wrong. Somewhere in that mix, you are going to charge them for this time. But you spend some time talking to them. What nails do you want today? Where are you going? Are you going on a cruise ship? Yes. What kind of color dresses are you going to be wearing? What kind of events are you going to? Instead of, yeah, sit down. There we go. How's that? Great. Give me the £20 and go. That's where we got to be, guys. Everything we got to look at. Catherine, what we got? Ask about income protection. Okay, I'll leave you guys to talk about insurance. Yes, giving them more benefits. Absolutely. But do you know what, Robert? It's not about mechanical benefits. Do you know what you need to give people? You need to give them a feeling. That's what you're trying to sell more than anything. When I want to sell, I've got anything on my, when I want to sell something, you've got to sell them a feeling. Okay, so imagine I was trying to sell myself to you, one of you tonight, or you, Robert. Listen, and maybe imagine your salon is struggling. And I say, listen, I can get your salon, Robert, I know this is not your figures, I can get your salon from 20,000 to 120,000. Okay, it'll take us a year. And I could say to you, how would you feel about it? How would you feel being able to have 10 times the income you got now? How would your family feel about going on a different kind of holiday because you've done that? How would your family feel? How would you feel that you're going to be able to move house? How would you feel about being able to get rid of that cycle and buying yourself a car? You want to sell yourself and you want to sell to your clients a feeling. When you sell a skin treatment, you're not selling them a skin treatment. Okay, nobody actually needs the skin treatment. What they want to do is they want to look in the mirror afterwards and look more rejuvenated, look fresher, maybe even feel younger. That's what they want. They want the feeling. So that's what you're selling, guys. And it's the same with customer service. You're not selling them directly or indirectly a cup of tea or an awesome beer that Phil's organized. What you're selling them is a sense of I don't know, respect, a sense of being valued, okay? A sense of I'm in the right place. That's what you're selling, that feeling that comes with exclusive things. It's like a Ferrari, isn't it? You buy a Ferrari, not because you need a car, because it doesn't do any more in the UK anyway, apart from go faster than a Ford Fiesta. You'd buy a Ferrari or a Porsche or something because it makes you feel damn awesome. So that's what you're doing, guys. You are selling absolute feelings. You're not selling products. You're not selling poor benefits. When you're selling benefits, Robert, you've got to make sure that you're actually getting the feeling conveyed. Communication is the key element in customer care, Gillian, absolutely. And that communication comes in many formats. The best forms of communication are verbal communication, and that comes down to training your staff as well when you're doing that. Good evening, Kerry. Thank you for joining me. And Valerie is on board. Thank you guys for all getting on board tonight. Look, it's 6 minutes past 9. We run until 9:30 tonight. This is Quick Coach TV. My name's Carl Hinder. I'm the business coach with Salon Help. And every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m., I run this channel, which allows you to ask questions and I'll answer them as quickly as I can every single week. This week, we're talking about competition, how to beat the competition, but we'll also talk about anything else that you're having a problem with at the moment. So we got to move away from the competition. Okay, you might have a whole street full of beauty therapists all doing eyelashes. You cannot beat them on price. You cannot beat them on the eyelash themselves in most cases. You can only beat them on how you treat them when they turn up in the salon. Is the salon clean? How are you welcoming them? How long is the consultation? Everything that you do, what value do they get? Okay, some places don't add a lot of value to what they're doing. And this is why part of the key to customer service is retailing. There's a massive, massive section throughout my book and throughout my online course that talks about customer service is the reason that you need to be a retailer, which is why you need to sell the client the product. Okay, this is customer service, that you are competition isn't going to do. And we know they won't do it because most of you aren't doing it, and you'll all have your reasons and barriers, none of which I believe, okay? But your competition will also have those barriers, and they will stick to them like gold, okay, or like glue. So what you need to do is say, look, they are not ever going to deal with retailing. I'm going to deal with it. And now, let's have an example. My client, she comes in for a color. Okay, I'm going to charge her £70, £80, £90. And I'm going to treat her well, and she's going to have a nice cup of tea, and we're going to do a fantastic consultation, and we are doing okay on customer service. But imagine, I want to take this up a notch. Imagine now, I don't want her to have a faded color in 10 days' time. I don't want her to walk around tomorrow with her hair flat because I didn't recommend or sell her the volumizing cream. I don't want her to look all scruffy next Saturday because I didn't or wouldn't sell her the right product and show her how to do root lift. I didn't sell her the correct brush and she's using a Denman brush instead of something else. Are you coming along with me on this? You've got to own the customer for longer. Instead of owning the customer for that 2 hours in the chair, hour in the chair, 3 hours in the chair, and then re-owning them when they turn up 6 weeks later, own them from the minute they come in until the minute they come back 6 weeks later. Okay, or 4 weeks later, or 2 weeks later, whatever it is. This is true customer service, guys. This is when your competition are not going to live with you. When a client comes to you and they get looked after that well, when you are actually sending them maybe an email with a picture of the haircut 3 weeks later saying, still looking good, John, okay, or the color to the client saying, is your red still looking this vibrant? Hope the shampoo is working well for you, something along those lines. Your competition will never, ever, ever compete with you. You haven't got to worry about another 20 salons opening up because you are going to be a pure. You're going to be charging those prices. You're going to have those levels of service, and you are going to beat the competition. Okay, guys, we haven't got many questions here. I asked a few clients last week, how do they feel when they leave our shop? And they said relieved. No, they didn't, did they, Ellie? Some said refreshed, lighter in their minds. A couple even said they felt sexy, which is great. I call that a result. Market research at its best. Listen, what a more reward. I know you want financial reward, guys. We all want financial reward. But that is the second best reward. I'm going to put a like on there. That made me laugh. The second best reward you can have is the feedback like that, to say I felt sexy. I told you guys before, when I was on the floor, I remember dealing with a guy, and he told me, Carl, the way your salon, the way you treat me, I feel like a king. Do you know what? That was worth a day's takings, to be told that we make someone, an ordinary gentleman, feel like a king. And that's what you're aiming for. My competition down the road, most of them, not all of them, some of them were better, but scrabbling around, they never made their clients feel like a king. They made them feel like they weren't wanted. Okay, they whiz them in and whiz them out. We didn't do that. Okay, what we got? I needed feedback of some products, so I wanted to research them. They were impressed that I was asked. Absolutely, we're just so scared, guys. Why are you all so scared of looking after your clients? Why do you not want to do the maximum for your clients? Why do you want to be average? Why do you want to do not the minimum, but the average, or the minimum you can get away with? Look, if you want to beat the competition, don't go onto a forum and spend an hour complaining about how many salons are opening, another 6 barbershops. What good is that going to do you when you know, just from 1 hour tonight, not even for 1 hour, after 40 minutes, I'm telling you, sort out your prices. Don't worry about your services, the service itself too much, as long as it's of a good standard, and put everything into real, genuine customer service. Now, that's easier said than done. A lot of this is going to be to do with things like staff training. It's going to be to do with you having a blueprint for your business. You're going to have certain standards, and you've got to outsmart your competition. But trust me, 8 out of 10 of people are going to be gone, okay, in 10 years' time in your high street. You don't have to be one of those 8. You can be one of the 2 that's left if your customer service is at the right level. Anybody who knows me knows that everything I do and everything I coach towards has to be a financial result, but the client doesn't have to sense that or feel that. That's not the deal for them. You want them to hand over their money almost voluntarily or with enthusiasm and say, that was worth every penny. Okay, and it won't be because your price is low. It'll be because you've given them so much more than they can get from the competition. Don't forget, tonight is all about how do we beat the competition. The answer is you give your clients more than the competition can ever give them. Okay, and that doesn't mean more discounts, not discounts, guys. It doesn't mean just more tea or more coffee. It means you give them more value, you add more to what they're doing, you give them a better experience. That's what you're trying to do. You have to give them more for the money that they're paying. That way you'll beat the competition. Trust me on this, please. You do have an opportunity if you to up your game in terms of doing something different. I think there's a whole layer of clients waiting out there for someone who will do something different for them. All good booking system is the key. A good booking system. Well, do you know what? I mean, I think a good booking system is, I don't think it is the key, Robert. I think the key is you. I think a booking system can actually be not the best thing for a business because you want to work on rebookings. But for some salons, I've seen it transform their business. So everyone should have a booking system. But I don't believe that automated booking that's let loose is always the best for a business. We all learn by making mistakes. And do you know what? That's one of the reasons why having a business coach can be so essential for your business. This sounds like a sale pitch, and it is, because you need a business coach, certainly when you're kind of trying to develop your business. If you're happy at a certain level and you don't want to move any further, maybe you don't need one. But the reason I'm going back to what you're saying is, coaches like myself have already had our salons. We've had them for a long time. We've had other industries. We've made lots of mistakes. We've been through the VAT barrier. I've been through staff rejecting, refusing to sell, and sickness and pregnancies and all those things. What I would say is, if you're a business that wants to expand quickly, get yourself a good coach, because most of them will have already been through this. There's no reason for us all to go through the same pain when you can skip all those issues. You can beat the competition, and you have to beat them by delivering more than the other competitors. That's all it is, okay? You might have to reshape your business, do things you never wanted to do in the past. Maybe you got to introduce new services you never wanted to do. Maybe you got to open more hours. Maybe you got to open different hours. Maybe you got to increase your prices. Whatever it is, you can beat your competition by being massively different from them. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, let's go back to what we got here. Yes, happy with you to share yet. Okay, so listen, I've worked with Phil quite a bit over a number of years now. Phil seems like a long time. And one of the things we've been working on quite hard, I think, is retailing and trying to sell more products through the salon. Now, Phil's gone through the book, he's gone through the online course, and I've been at his business and done some training with his team. Now, when you're working on retail, and when you're trying to go from very low percentages to 30 or 40% selling, it's a lot of change for a business. It's not easy to do. Now, the first thing that you got to have is the salon owner, the business owner, the barbershop owner has to be the one leading the way, has to be the one who's 100% committed to making that change, whether that's retailing or anything else in the business. Okay, so if you're lackluster, if you're not interested, then it's going to be always difficult. But let's say that in Phil's case, he's on board, he wants to sell more stock, but his team, in effect, are refusing to sell. Now, it doesn't make any sense to me why a team would refuse to sell if they really understood the logic to it. And if we were to drive the connection. So the advice I gave to Phil, first of all, was this. You've got to say everything to your staff, that everything you do is to do with customer service, okay? So next time that Jen walks out, or the next time that Jen hasn't got a styling product, we need to say to the member of staff, don't you want him to look good tomorrow? That's not really good customer service for him, is it? He's now got to go to the supermarket and find something, okay? Maybe a client has come in and he's from the builders, he's been building all day and he's having his hair cut with bits of plaster in his hair. Phil needs to take him aside and listen. Do you think that's really good customer service? How cutting hair with all those bits in his hair? Wouldn't it be nice if we would? So what I'm saying is, you got to relate product selling to customer service. And the reason for this is nobody will ever object to customer service. Nobody will ever say, when I'm doing a seminar and I say, put your hands up if you believe that customer service is essential to our business. It doesn't matter if I got 3 people in the room or 50 people in the room, they all say customer service is essential to our business. So if you make product selling part of customer service, your staff can never reject the concept of customer service, which means you got the upper hand in saying to them, this client must have this product, because otherwise the service given to him or to her is much lower than I'm prepared to accept, and it's much lower than you should be prepared to accept as well. Now, we've only got 5 minutes, so I can't do a retail training course with you. My course does cover this, but sometimes, it's not sometimes, every time, it's down to the salon owner to drive these things. Ultimately, and I don't want to dwell on this too much, it's not negative, but it shouldn't end up in this way. Ultimately, you should be meeting with your team every single week and talking about that. Last week, you did this percentage in terms of the amount of products you sold to your clients. I'm monitoring how good your customer service is. You need to work on your customer service. Okay, you need to agree actions to work on that customer service. And don't be afraid, ultimately, to do what you would do if they were giving bad customer service somewhere else. If someone was doing terrible, terrible haircuts, you wouldn't leave it 6 months before mentioning it to them. You would get them in after work. You would have a meeting with them. You would have a disciplinary hearing with them. You would treat them in a certain way because you know the bad haircuts, bad color, bad customer service, swearing in the salon, whatever it is that you consider currently to be bad customer service, you would deal with it. And you should do the same with retail selling. If your staff in some way are refusing to sell, maybe not verbally, maybe they're going, yeah, okay, and then not selling, okay, then you have to go down the same path. You've got to have those meetings with them. You've got to have the retraining with them. And eventually, you might have to do disciplinary hearings with them, agree further actions with them, and you might even lose that team altogether. But that's how serious you've got to be about customer service. Okay, we've got 3 minutes and 4 questions. I'm going to try and get 5 questions. Okay, what have we got here? Let's have a look. Ellie, I'm introducing a new service tomorrow because this time of the year, you have the opportunity to gain new clients. Listen, I did a workshop in Cardiff that was all about Christmas, and it's all about having a springboard for January and February. Christmas, I have no idea why people work the socks off up until about the Saturday before Christmas and then shut for 10 days. Some towns, some shopping centres, and even some countries, Deborah, New Zealand, I get you, but most of you should be having your business open for more time, and you should be providing services that attract people who are maybe looking to spend more money. Everybody this time of the year is prepared to bend that flexible friend, aren't they? Okay, selling is service and service is selling. That's hilarious, Phil. And do you know what, Phil? I actually been reading my own book today because I'm doing this webinar, and it actually says those very words in there. And I swear I never pinched them off that video. Well, do you know what I want, Robert, is most salons, most barbershops, I don't want them to book after they leave. Maybe I've just misunderstood your print. I want you, the owner, the barber, the hairdresser, the nail technician, you got the idea, to book the client before they leave, guys. All right, so when you show someone a picture of their hair and they've just had a lovely color, or they've just had a flat top, or they've just had a facial, whatever it is, you ask them, how are you feeling? Just had a shave. Oh, I feel great. Listen, I want you to be feeling like this all the time. I want you to be looking like this all the time. I need to see you in 3 weeks' time. Look, I've got 3 weeks' time, 3 weeks today, okay? Don't send them away and say, don't forget you can book online. Even if you tell them it's 3 weeks, because they look in 3 weeks, and they'll book for 4 or 5 weeks. Okay, so this is a different subject. Maybe we'll do rebooking next week, the same time as we're talking about the failure club. Big one next week. I want our industry to be better. I want your salons to be better. And I don't want any of you to have any barriers to success. Okay, that's what we do. And don't forget, we'll end the day with a proper salon product, sell or die trying. Jump on Amazon. They'll probably be delivered before I actually get it wrapped. Everything else, guys, thank you so much. Please come over to the Salon Help business coaching group. You're going to be most welcome. I just want professionals on there talking about business. Good night to everyone, and thank you again.